this is Ravindra Dundra and welcome to my channel RDSC CPSC. In this lecture, we will discuss about conservation of resources from the first topic of Geography class 10th, resources and development. In this, we will discuss what is the importance of conservation of resources. But before that, let me revise what we have seen in the last lecture. In the last lecture, we have discussed about resource planning in India. That we have seen what is the process of resource planning in India which we are following, and we have also discussed about Agenda 21. So in continuation with that, in this lecture we will see conservation of resources. Conservation of resources means what? Basically conservation of resources means saving the resources. That means we have to save the resources. Why do we need to save the resources? Is because these resources, whatever the resources are there, they are very limited. That means the quantity and quality of resources which are available to us, they are very limited. Therefore, it is very important for us to conserve these resources. And at the same time, day by day, the consumption of resources is increasing like very rapidly. And at the same time, the production of resources is decreasing or it is very slower. So, the production of resources is decreasing or very slower, and the process of consuming the resources is very high. Therefore, it is very highly recommended or required to conserve these resources. So, in that process only, our national leader, or you can say father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, he told something about these resources. What he told is that there is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. That means whatever the resources are there in our country, they all are enough for our requirements. But what he is also saying is that they are not for one person's greed, not for one person's profit, not for one person's earnings. They all should be consumed, distributed equally. Only one person cannot consume all these resources, and only one person cannot earn all the profit. So that is what Gandhi was trying to say about these resources. There is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. Then at the same time, Gandhi is also saying something, that is mass production should replace with production by the masses. Mass production means one person producing large amounts of goods, or you can say producing large size of goods. Then what Gandhi is trying to say is that this should be replaced by production by the masses. That means instead of one person producing large amount of goods, large people should produce goods. So that is what Gandhi was trying to say. Overall, what I am trying to say is that conservation of resources is very important. Then at the same time, we should also save the resources for future generation. If not, our future generation people or our upcoming generation people, they may feel, they may question, or they may not know some of the resources which we have utilized. Therefore, it is very important for us to conserve these resources. Then, one of the important resource which next we are going to discuss is about this land as a resource. So, you all know resource land is something like a natural resource. That means which is the gift given by the nature. But at the same time, this land, it is very limited or it is finite. Why? Because you all know one of the basic fact that the total amount of land on this earth is only 29%. Remaining earth is covered with 71% is covered with water. So therefore, since it is very finite, it is very limited, then it is a natural resource. We are supposed to use this land in a proper manner, and at the same time we have to we have to maintain this land properly. Otherwise, this will be like there are some other environmental problems may occur if we cannot use this land resource properly. Then this land resource is very important, and it supports different things for us. For example, it supports human life, it supports wildlife, it supports transport or movement of goods, it supports natural vegetation, and at the same time it also supports this economic activities. Not only this, there are any number of ways in which the land can be used, but the size of the land is limited or finite. Therefore, it is very very important even to use the land properly. So, if you take the what is that situation of our country, what is the size of land in our country? Then, what size of land we are using? What is we are not utilizing? For example, if we take in India, total area in that almost 30% of India was covered with mountains. That means 30% of the land that is present in India, it is covered with mountains. Then 27% of the land is covered with this plateaus. Then 43% is covered with this plains. This mountains, you may think, what is the use of mountains? There are two different ways can we say how mountains are useful. One is it is the main source of water, or you can say where rivers are born, and at the same time you can also take some of the natural as well as wildlife which can be found in these mountains. Then second thing, plateaus. Plateaus are the rich source of minerals. That means you can say almost all the rich minerals which are found in India, they are actually in this found in plateaus. Then plains. Plains are highly suitable for different activities. Can be agriculture, can be construction, can be roadways or railways, whatever. So these plains are covering almost 43%. Then the next very important thing is land utilization. That means how we are utilizing this land. What are the different ways in which we are utilizing this land? So the first and foremost thing is that some of the land is covered with this forests. That means you all know forests. Then second thing is that the land not available for cultivation. That means the land which is not suitable for cultivation. You all know all the land available on this earth, in this country, is not suitable for cultivation. Then what is the purpose of that land which we are using? So that is barren and wasteland. That means which is not suitable for cultivation. Then second thing is non-agricultural land. That means the land which is kept for constructing the buildings, roads, houses, or etc. etc. So whatever the land which is kept for these buildings, roads and houses, we call this non-agricultural purpose land. Then third thing is other uncultivated land. That means there is land but we are not cultivating. Why? Because it may be a permanent pastures. Permanent pastures means the land which is permanently given for animals for grazing. You can say the grazing land where you can graze your animals like buffaloes, cows, cattle or etc. Whatever the thing, but the land is completely dedicated to what is that? For grazing the animals. Then miscellaneous trees. That means land which is where some of the trees either not useful for humans as well as they are not also, I can say, the which is not useful for not that much useful for humans. Miscellaneous trees. Then the other thing is cultural wasteland. That means left uncultivated for more than 5 years. Sometimes if you keep on cultivating any kind of land, after some time it loses its fertility. Therefore what people will do is that to regain the fertility of the land, sometimes they'll stop cultivating in that land. So the land which is left uncultivated for more than 5 years, we call it as cultural wasteland. That means you can cultivate if you want, but you are not cultivating because you need to regain the strength of this fertility in the land. Then fourth one is fallow land. Fallow land means the land which is left uncultivated. That is in these two types, current fallow land as well as non-current fallow land. Current fallow land means the land which is uncultivated for less than 1 year. That means within 1 year if you left your land, if you leave your land for 1 year for not cultivating, we call it as current fallow land. Then second thing is that more than 1 year, if we leave this land for not cultivating for more than 1 year, we call it as non-current fallow land. That means if we keep on not cultivating the land for something like 1 or 2 more than 1 year, we call it as non-current fallow land. Then fifth one is this net sown area. That means area sown once in a year, we call it as net sown area. For example, if you have a land of 1 acre land is there for you, then within this 1 year you cultivated this land. The total area which you call it which you have cultivated, we call it as this net sown area. Then what do you mean by this gross cropped area? For example, within 1 year, if you have cultivated the same land for twice or sometimes you can say thrice, then that is called as gross cropped area. So the area which is sown for 1 year, even if you are sowing for 2 years, 3 years, you are sowing only one particular land, we call it as this net sown area. But if you are the same land, if you are cultivating it for more than once in a year, we call it as this gross crop area. So the land utilization can be in different ways. That is, one is by forest, second one is land not available for cultivation, maybe barren land or wasteland, then non-agricultural land, and other than that uncultivated land, wantonly the land which is left without cultivating, then fallow lands as well as net sown area. So these are the 5 different ways in which the land is utilized. So in the next lecture we will discuss about land use pattern in India. So thank you.